You're already leading into my first question is who is Majek? Not who was, because you're still here.
Yes.
And all that has gone before is still you. So you're answering the question, who is Majek?
I
take your time.
I hate to talk about myself.
I know. That's why I'm here to make sure that you do today. Do you know what's the one thing that's wrong with not talking about yourself? If you don't speak up for yourself, no one else will.
Yeah.
So go on. Let's do it.
Muyiwa Majekodunmi is a 65-year-old man, married, 4 kids, one of whom has Down syndrome. You know, I always mention BJ.
Yeah, I know he's your guy. He's your guy.
You know, I mean,
he's your guy. He's your guy. He's my godson. So no worries, man. No worries.
BJ, I think, has defined me to a certain extent.
Okay.
And I'm a music lover, music promoter.
I think that's an understatement.
Music promoter. I haven't played the piano. I used to play the piano.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think I've played it.
That's true.
Seriously, in 20 years, I'm not sure if I can still play. It's been years.
It's like a bicycle. Like a bicycle.
Yeah. I guess so. Muyiwa Majekodunmi. I like to make people happy. I like to I'd like to see people grow.
Yeah.
I like to see people develop.
Yeah.
Even at my own expense, you know, without thinking about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
My life is not really about me, but it's like, what can I do for you? And that's how I get my kicks.
All right.
On Route 66.
All right. Okay. Let me let you off the hook a bit. Okay. Let me let you off the hook a bit. All right. I'm back here with Muyiwa Majekodunmi on Jazz and Conversations. Okay, we were talking about who you are. Okay, we know you are an artist manager, marketing for drinks, change to musicians, creator of Jazzville, father of 4, husband of husband of 1, yes, husband of 1. And yes, you helped run the Down Syndrome's foundation as well, many years. His godson, his first son, my godson, has Down syndrome. How old is he now? 35, and he's an amazing percussionist. He's an amazing fellow. He calls him his wingman.
He is my wingman.
He's your wingman.
Should have been here, but because we're closing the.
No worries. He's with us.
He plays, but he also sings.
Yes, he does.
But he plays percussion
very well.
Innate sense of
rhythm. Yeah. Yeah, he does. Okay.
Very proud of him.
Now, you know, when we talk about the history of jazz in Lagos, I think there's a few people that fall into that category. We think of Art Alade.
Darius
Art's Place. Darius' father.
Even before Art's Place.
Yeah.
You know, when he used to do those shows on television,
yeah.
The Babbage Show,
yes.
Things like that.
Yes,
those were influences.
Yes. You know, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. For us, the influences were Art Alade, Tunde Kuboye.
Museum Kitchen.
Do you remember that Saturday Square?
Everyday Money Matters, EMM, is a personal finance show about money, which aims at discussing and finding common solutions to issues and questions around spending, saving, and any financial issue. Join the conversation today as we discuss issues that bother on consumer spending and savings on the show, Everyday Money Matters, with your host, Ugodre Obichuku. You don't want to miss this every Wednesday from 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. on Lagos Talks 91.3.
Yeah, you remember Saturday Square with Rosemary? And that's the first time we saw Fela and the Kulo Lobitos.
That's right.
That was on. It was on
I
that
was trying
show.
to remember. Yes, I
Yes,
remember.
that's where we saw Fela and the Kulo. That's the first time we saw Fela and the Kulo Lobitos. Then, of course, you got the likes of Bobby Benson and Kabam Bamboo. Who else? Who else was raging then? There was Ojes. Was that later?
It was later.
It was later. Okay, so we had those. So there was Atalade, there was Steve Rhodes with the Steve Rhodes voices. Yes. No place, no resident place, but he was ever present.
Regular shows
and
regular
his
concerts.
on, was it NBC or NTV?
MTV.
Was it NTV or NBC that he had his that he I think he was on it was NTV. You know, and then we show up in the early 80s. Early to mid 80s, our generation.
That's right.
And then Tunde Kuboy becomes an ever-present
central
for us.
figure. Yes, that's right.
Arts Place is a central figure.
That's right.
And from that one thing, Museum Kitchen, which became Jazz 38.
That's right. Expanded.
Then Jazzville, bread and butter.
I forgot about that. There was Paradiso.
I know Paradiso, but I don't know who it was that was.
Paradiso was located in Yaba.
Yes.
And it was owned by late Inca Craig.
Oh, yeah.
Then they used to have their regular jazz nights on Wednesdays with Captain Wale Buckner.
That was the name I was going to come to.
Captain
I was going to say that we've missed one name. Captain Wale Buckner and the Navy Band.
And the Afro Jazz. It was called the Afro Jazz song.
Yes, that Navy Band. What? And then also the Harbors Band.
Yes, that's right.
The Harbors Band.
The Post Authority.
Post Authority Band.
Right, yes.
That was the other one. So these were all the things. And then, of course, Balamila, of course.
Yes.
Balamila as well.
There's another one you probably won't remember. A guy called Godwin Amobwa. And it's something dandies.
Rhythm Dandies.
Something dandies.
Rhythm Dandies. It was Rhythm Dandies. It was Rhythm Dandies.
Little did I know, little did we know.
Yeah.
In fact, remember when Kibela Akisho used to have his parties?
Yes.
In Apapa, Marine Road?
Yes.
He always invited Godwin Omobo to come and play.
Yeah, that was another one. So,
yeah.
so out of that comes bread and butter. That comes Pintos. Yes. That comes Ojes. That comes Jazzville. And where else was there?
There was Murphy's Jazz.
Murphy's Jazz, but that was not later. That was later.
Yes.
You know, and out of this, I think Tunde Kuboy, I credit Tunde Kuboy for me doing this. For me being here. Him and Chris Adilo. That's who I credit for being here. Chris Adilo brought music to my life. He taught me to play the flute.
Are you serious?
He taught me to play the flute. Pa Chris Adilo taught me to play the flute. He brought music to my life at 10 years old.
You knew him then?
Yes. ISI. He was a music teacher at ISI.
Speak English. Are you serious?
Yes. Music teacher in Ibadan, in ISI. And he taught me to play the flute. By 13, I could sight read anything. Put any sheet of music, classical, anything on it, I could play it straight off with the flute. He brought music to my life. So him and Tunde Kuboy, I credit for me being here and doing this. In the same way, Tunde Kuboy obviously influenced your idea, but how did Jazzville come to be? How did Jazzville? Where did the spark come from? What day did you wake up and said, "This backyard, I can do something more with it"?
I hated nightclubs. No, seriously. I mean, I hated nightclubs because I love Tunde's place.
Yeah.
Because you could be yourself, but you know some clubs you go to, and they tell you can't come in because you're not well dressed.
Yes. Oh, that was back in the day.
You know, places like Phoenicia. Remember Phoenicia?
Oh yes.
Said, you know, you have to wear a jacket.
Yeah.
And I got mad one day, and I said, you know what? I told the bouncer. I said one day I got to set up a club in which well-dressed persons are not allowed. I said, I'm not going to allow well-dressed persons. If you came in with a tie, I'll throw you out.
Oh God!
If you came in with a suit,
that's
I'll
amazing.
throw you out. It was a joke.
Really?
And then, you know, those days we used to go to clubs and things like that.
Yes. Yeah. We used to. Yeah.
I said, let me start a stopover.
Yeah.
Where people come from work, have a drink, and then off they go to other places.
Yeah.
Now, January 6th is my birthday, right?
Yep.
And every year I should have a barbecue. Every year I should have a barbecue.
Okay. Okay.
And I know I've been planning to start this jazz thing for a long time.
Yeah.
So this was this year, 1990 January, 1990. So guys, I don't think you were there.
Yeah.
I can't remember if you were there or not. Guys came over for my birthday.
Yeah.
And when they were leaving, they now said they were coming back the following week.
Yeah. Okay.
I said,
why?
I said, because I had a great time.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And they said they would bring their drinks.
Yeah. Okay.
I remember it was outside the house. Somebody now said, wait, Majek, you said you wanted to start a jazz club.
Yeah.
Why don't you start next week? I said, are you crazy? He said, yeah, we dare you to start. So the chorus came up, start. So guess what? I started Jazzville 1 year before I was meant to start. I started a year ahead. And it was a dare.
Oh, yeah?
January 12th, 1990. And one thing led to another. And there we are. Oh, there we were. It was a joke. It was a joke.
Wow.
It was a dare.
It was a dare.
It was a dare. So I was going to start November 1990, but I started January 1990.
Okay.
And then I remember during that period when I was trying to set up, Tunde walked in, Tunde walked in. And so what I was doing, I was carrying cement blocks and things like that. So what I did, I said, I'm setting up a jazz thing next week, and some crazy guys have dared me. He said, you know what? I'll bring my keyboard.
Okay. And so began
live music from day one.
And the love affair with Jazzville.
This is Street Talk, Lagos Talk, 91.3.
All right. We are on the Zoom call right now. Vincent, welcome. Jahman, can you hear me?
I hear you. Good evening, sir.
Good
I can hear you.
Good evening. Good evening. Benga, can you hear us?
Oh, yes, I can.
That's Benga Shofura, my brother-in-law, all the way in Kent.
All the way in
Great to see you.
Hi, good to see you, gentlemen.
Hello.
Right. Okay. Tonight's a little different, Vince. Tonight is different because tonight we are, as it were, honoring my friend. And there's two people on this call tonight. There's Muyiwa Majek, who is beside me here.
Hi, Muyiwa.
And there is another gentleman on the call, Mr. Jahman Anikulapo, who is also on the call. Now, the two of them are, when it comes to jazz and the cultural history of Jahman, if I say Lagos or Nigeria, which is correct? Which one is it? Cultural history of Lagos or cultural history of Nigeria?
Well, I think the two.
Okay. They are being honored next Friday by the Lagos Jazz Society with awards for, is it lifetime achievement?
Contributions to
jazz in Nigeria and to the preservation of the cultural history. That's Jahman's specialty. Anything, Vince, about the history of Nigeria. He's like his counterpart in the UK, I would say, is Ed Kiazo. Would you agree, Jahman?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ed and Jahman are like two sides of the same coin. You know, Ed covers Nigeria from one standpoint, and Jahman covers from another. But what they've been able to do is incredible. What they've been able to preserve.
It's incredible. Yeah.
Thank you.
What they're able they've been able to do, because unfortunately we live in a culture in a country where our history and our culture, for some reason, it's almost like nobody sees the value in keeping it and preserving it,
Yeah. Yeah.
So Jahman, please, I've already done Muyiwa. So who is Jahman? Let's start there.
Did you say who is Jahman?
Yes, who is Jahman?
Oh, okay. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Jahman Anikulapo. I work in the field of culture. Well, let me use the description that my boss, Wale Soyinka, used for me, because I was just chatting with him. That's why I was late.
Okay.
Because we have the World Poetry Day next week, and
Okay.
it's coming in from Abu Dhabi, so I have to arrange for his inclusion in the program and all of that. So he says I'm a culture curator, producer, and communicator.
Very good.
He did that expression when we did the Lagos at 50.
Okay.
2017, yes.
Okay.
And I've been using it since then. That's what I am.
All right. Okay. So and you've been at this for how long? From your days at Guardian, how long ago was that?
Well, I walked into the Guardian newsroom as a youth corper in 1987.
Yeah.
I remember I came from the Kafanchan riot, and I got to Oshodi, and I couldn't go home to my father's house. So, and I knew Bentomology was in the Guardian. So I just walked from Oshodi to Toyota, and I entered there, and they gave me a desk. Sit down. That's how I started writing.
Are you serious? That's how you started?
That's how I joined the Guardian. But I've been at it since 1980 when I left secondary school. Because that was when Bentomology first formed the Kakaki Arts Company, where I was an actor. You know, the guy called Papa Jasko.
Yes.
Not the one that died. You're doing Antalani, or I think eventually Norbert Young.
Okay.
Eventually encountered Richard Daniel. So we all started about the same time, 1980.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, good. Okay.
I don't even think about that would be some. Well, I'm not an ancestor like Muyiwa Majekodunmi. I'm not an ancestor.
You sound like I'm some antiquated 70, 80-year-old guy who's been
very much.
From two somewhere.
My brother, we're not that far away.
Speak for yourself.
All right. Anyway, listen, Jahman, the gentleman, one of the gentlemen people that's joined us, he's a good friend, a great supporter of the show, Vincent Orofo. He's based in the UK. And we normally have these dialogues about the music that we're playing and various different things. So today, I'm actually making him something of a spectator today, so that he's going to learn about yourself and learn about Majek. Because I'm sure you knew about Jazzville, right, Vincent?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I actually met both Jahman and Muyiwa at some point, possibly at Falamo Shopping Center and possibly at Jazz Hall on Walawa Road.
Yeah, I think I remember your.
Yeah. So we will keep our secret, Jahman. Okay.
I hope I don't have any secrets too.
But
I recognize Vincent's voice, like more of the voice in the face, you know.
All right.
Yeah. I was friendly with your cousin Kojo.
See, okay.
He was my 2IC and I was his 2IC. But like I said,
your secrets are safe.
As your secrets are safe with us.
Okay, Jahman,
good to see you guys. Yeah.
Today I was just before we started, I was talking with Majek. You know, both of you. You know, I feel I have a sort of a something similar with you, is that you just do, and you don't think about what any acclaim or recognition or whatever it is. You just
not necessary.
It's not necessary. Yeah. Both of them are like that. Whereas, listen, if you know the number of careers in stand-up comedy and musicians that started from Jazzville, Jahman, I'm correct, yes? There's so many.
You're right. Yes.
I mean, Alibaba started in Jazzville.
One of his platforms.
One of his platforms, but that was a major one. It was a major one at that time because there wasn't really much.
I think he had his baptism of fire.
And late Mohammed Danjuma, one of the funniest guys you can ever imagine. Who else?
Oh yeah.
I think William started off his Night of 1,000 Laughs.
Okay.
Yeah, and now it's a Muson, and it's an annual event. So these are all these things budded and grew from Jazzville.
Yeah.
It's a good. You know what I can add? What I can add also is that MM, as we call him, will not know. That was actually one of the reasons why some of us remained in culture, entertainment, journalism for a long time. Because it was the only place we could go as reporter in those days when we were not wanted in the newsroom anyway. We were in the newsroom, we were like failures because we couldn't report business or we were not useful to the newsroom. But the fact that we could go to Jazzville and write that one big man showed up there, and you write one big story, one small thing happened, and then you write a big story, and you make it seem the world was going on. So they had to create an entertainment desk.
Yes. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not an art desk, but there was no entertainment desk. So before we could get story from there every day, we became like superstars in the news because we were generating story. We were political reporters who would go and chase politicians. We were chasing musicians and writing about Sonny Ade showing up, Fela showing up, showing up.
Yes, because everybody, Steve Rhodes, Fela, Art Alade, everybody came to Jazzville.
Yeah, and then you come to write that you met Fela just last, and your editor is asking you, "Are you sure you saw Fela?" I say, "Yeah, Fela was there. Sonny Ade was there." So we became important. So we have to sustain our career too.
Oh, brilliant!
But I'm not sure he's.
No, I'm sure he's not aware. I'm sure.
Jahman, the other thing you've done unwittingly is that you've created a history because it's all documented. Otherwise, these things would have been forgotten and nobody knows anything about anything. But because of the work you've done over the years and the platform you created, there's something documented, which is absolutely essential. Otherwise, we lose everything.
You know, John, I have a question that I wanted to ask. How are you involved at all in that funny structure that is now going to become, I believe it is a museum of Yoruba history that's opposite Museum Kitchen?
That's Jekira.
What is that project?
Are you sure you want to know?
What is that? What is that building supposed to be? Please.
You know, I tell people that Nigeria, we like to be. Nigeria is a graveyard of dreams. We allow people to dream.
That's a deep statement.
And then we build. It's a very good project that they conceived that they wanted to do. But you know, the way they went about it was wrong. I don't know, you can enlighten us, and I can see my sister there, Charlie. How it happened in other places that before you think of such a structure, you have content in mind. What do you want to do in that? Because you don't just, even when you're building your private homes, you want to build a house. You already know the way you want to live. Which room will be for your spouse, you want for your children, where your library will be, where, you know. This was just like, the idea came to them. They thought about the structure before they thought about the content. I was involved with the content at the initial stage because they got in touch with somebody, the former director of Museum and Monument, Mayo Adedora, who then called me. And we started thinking, okay, what can they put as a Yoruba place? And eventually the guy got angry and he left them. But then they then went to pick some younger curators who came, and they had to resort to us. I had to bring them to Fatai Rolling Dollar, bring a family, bring them to Olesho Inka, bring them to Ebenezer Obey. And okay, now the structure is there. They're supposed to have content running the play. Otherwise, it's a shell.
Yeah.
It's just a shell. But there's no program. Oduwole did a great job in terms of conception, in terms of the space, in terms of to reclaim that land and turn it into that. But for what? In the same way that Lagos State government built 6 theaters, I think one of them got burnt now. And they built the theater, nothing is happening in many of the places until they burnt the one in there. So they have, I think this brick and mortar brings cheap money to politicians and political leaders. So they just know that once you put up a building, you can't probe them, you don't know how much they spend. But what are you going to do with the building? That's why they're all building bridges and roads.
Because, you know, Jahman, I've been looking at that building. Apart from the fact I don't understand the structure and I've not been inside. And you know, this building is coming up along the same time as they are starting to talk about all this repatriation of artifacts from Europe and the West. Now, I'm presuming that is one of the places that these things are going to reside. But for as far as I know, the only place The only
It's not
place that I know that is received anything is in Benin.
It's not connected. That building is not connected to anything.
What? What about the stuff that was in the old National Museum? Is that moving across?
Okay, yeah. This is the way it should have been. You know, during the Lagos 50 in 2017, because I was part of that. Shoyinka was directing, and I was the assistant director to him. The idea was that they were going to build this museum, and there will be a connection between the. In fact, they got so dreamful that they thought, okay, you could, from the National Museum, you could get on a, what do you call it, on a ramp.
Yeah.
You come, so you don't have to cross the bridge, the road.
Yeah.
You just walk. You can walk from that museum to this.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, when it became government affair, they started having issues. Who is going to put money down? Some kind of problem around contractorship, according to them. So they lost the contract with the National Museum. So they now have to build their own. That's why they are now two different projects. So they have no connection at all. So whereas the National Museum has connection to the repatriated artifact, the Lagos Museum, the Yoruba Museum for Heritage has no connection to it.
Wow.
So yeah, they have no connection unless they now come up with the program. Because the thing they open it now, they lock it up. Nothing's happening there.
Wow.
So it's like the way they build Lagos Park, you know, they build parks all over Lagos, they are locked up.
That's why they have elephant. So,
that's why I say you don't want to hear the story. If I was still in the newsroom, that's
All right, we're back. Yes, Chairman, please carry on.
Yeah, I was saying that there's no connection between the Yoruba Museum and the National Museum. In fact, the reason they brought the former director of National Museum and Monument, Adediran, in was because he was the one that he worked with the with Leo Frobenius and all the people who did the curatorial services for the National Museum. They brought him in because he has memory, institutional memory.
Yeah.
He was part of the people who went around and got all those materials for the National Museum. So they thought if they brought him in, he could link the two. But then the guy got frustrated when they were not serious, and so he left.
Wow.
So they now brought him back later to work with the younger people, and so he still contributed, but there's no connection, which is a very valid question. How do you have a National Museum there? You have the Yoruba Museum, and they are not connected.
Wow.
There's no
wait, the two buildings across from each other are not connected?
Not now.
Wow.
Because the only thing that could bring them was that initial contract to have that around that will link them. But the thing did not work. Yeah.
Wow.
So and now the artwork, they are not sharing artworks. I can tell you that. Unless they start tomorrow, but right now the Yoruba Museum is looking for positive results.
All right. Okay, listen. Let's hear from some music from one of the artists that Majek actually managed. Our own diva, Yinka Davis.
Wow.
All right, let's hear from her. A track from her album Black Chiffon, which I love. For example, we're back. So, Jahman, like I said, we just heard. You can unmute yourself, guys. You're all muted. Unmute yourselves.
Yeah.
We just heard, for example, Yinka Davis, one of the many artists that fell under this man's wing. That half of them, I don't even. I'm sure he doesn't even know what he did for most of them. But you launched so many with Jazzville. I mean, it was about. What was the memorial for who was it? For you? When was it? Was it January? December. There's an Immaculate Club in Yaba decided to have a day to commemorate Majek. That day, the idea of this Jazzville alumni WhatsApp group came up, and that thing just exploded overnight. I don't know how many people are in it now. From nothing, and I keep telling you, if he started Jazzville tomorrow, he would have a full house. He said,
"Yeah, in fact, we've been harassing him."
We've been harassing him to start.
Oh yeah.
He keeps saying never again.
Get thee behind me. Say, get thee behind me.
We followed him to church. We followed him to do praise view so that he will come back, but he refused.
Oh God!
Even praising was a phase. You know, I moved up the phrase. I think I'm a very restless fellow when it comes to certain things, you know.
No,
I
but
need to
listen,
reinvent myself from time to time.
no. If you say you're restless, I have to ask a question. How long was Jazzville on for?
Roughly 11 years.
11 years, yeah.
And the average lifespan of a typical club is about 2 or 3 years. Average lifespan.
You well exceeded.
Yeah.
I think the only one that probably was lasted longer than yours is probably Arts Place. Arts Place is the only one that lasted longer than Jazzville.
No.
Ah,
No?
No?
no, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Yeah.
When did that start?
That was, I've been like 7, 8 years.
It was 81. Started 81, I think.
I'm not sure it got to 10 years, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. So that means nothing. Oh, maybe. Well, if you kept Museum Kitchen and Jazz at together,
yes.
together, then maybe that, you know. So, Jahman, listen.
Yeah.
Lagos Jazz Society is recognizing the two of you. Now, from where we all are, I think it's fair to say that most of us have entered the 6th floor. Maybe not all of us, but I think most of us have entered the big floor. Vince, do I include you in that?
Oh yes.
Okay,
I'm a veteran.
Yeah, a veteran. Okay, we have all entered the 6th floor. So now going forward, what has to be the story? From your perspective, what has to be the story? I mean, Lagos, if things go well, I may be your MC next Friday. So we'll continue this line of questioning then. 2 weeks from now. We will continue the line of questioning from then. But what should be the story going forward?
No, that story now, is it for jazz movement?
No, in your case, it's culture. In his, he will answer the one about jazz.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, for me, you know, it's a very tough.
No, you know, I'll tell you why I'm asking the question. I'll tell you why I'm asking the question. There is only so much Jahman Anikulapo can do, and you have even done more than you should have even been able to do. But without a government that understands the value of our history and our culture, even if it is at state level, even only at state level, even if it's at state, really understands the value of it, I know there are limits to how far you can go. So I am saying to you, what message will you send out to anybody who is in that position so that they can understand what is important about what you have been doing and why they have to make sure that an enabling environment exists so that what you're doing takes root and grows? Does that make it easier to answer?
Let me make a statement that will sound political, even though I try not to be political. A while back, when I was 50 or so, and I had an interview, and I said, I had an interview on Sahara Reporter in New York. And the question that was put to me by, this is a professor now, Dr. Okonkwo, was that, why did you retire at the age of 50? So I discovered that I started working at the age of 18, 19, and I've worked all through my life. And it seemed that every year I added, all the advocacy that we're making for government to put culture at the center of our, because I keep on saying that the only thing we have to give the world is our culture, really. We're not going to do science. We should forget about it.
It's marketable.
Yeah, we can't do science. We can't do all this. It is culture. I'll be trying to get government to be interested in all of this. So I made a statement. I said, there will never be government in the real sense in Nigeria, maybe now, not in our own time. So if you come from that, it's better you come from that point, that there will never be a government that will understand what you are trying to do, that will be ready for you. But the government that is still struggling to build hospital, they can't get hospital right, they can't get infrastructure, amenities right, education is not right, nothing is right. It's only when they have gotten all of that right that they can then start thinking about culture in their own, the way they think about it. Since we are still going to be struggling with this crop of politicians that we have to determine that there will be no government. And the creative sector has proved it. If you see that the only sector of the national economy that has been employing people, that have been generating employment, has been culture.
Yeah.
If you check it, it's been culture, it's been those musicians, those fashion designers, the club owners. And so why don't we go in that direction? Because every time government has tried to come in, they're actually coming to destabilize whatever you're doing. The moment government is involved in your project, that is the end of that project. I have run a festival now we've run an organization since 1991. The festival is 25 years old. If you had government support, we would have long been gone. I'm talking of Lagos Book and Art Festival. Festival that came after us, the fact that they went to meet government, collect money from government or try to do things with government, they are dead. They are dead because the government comes in with, I don't know the kind of hand they have. Once they step into your project, just know that you start going off. It's either people start to abandon you, or you start to lose your plan or your dream, or they make some invention. So I think the way forward for us is for creative entrepreneurs, the individuals who can continue to push their own envelope. Maybe eventually we will have a government that will be listening, but right now, 2023 is here. You can see the mess that we're in. This election is worse than all the elections we've ever had.
Yes.
Yeah. And we're not sure that the 2027 will not be worse. So let's forget, for culture, for creatives, let's forget that there will ever be government intervention that will make sense. The fact that even during COVID, the community that did not get a single kobo from government was culture, and they voted money and they collected money. So it's not just palliative. Money was voted. Our name showed up in some list that they said they were going to use to collect, and they got money from United Nations, from everywhere. The money never entered. The money entered audio, as they say. So it entered audio. So the money will never come. Nothing. Cultural policy has been there. The first article I wrote when I joined Guardian in 1987 was on cultural policy. We do not have it today. The cultural policy spoke about endowment fund for the art. They will not do it. See, there's a lot of money being pumped into the arts, but it's not going into a purse that can benefit Jazzville, that can benefit any program that they are doing in culture, because the money goes into private hands. If you remember, some corporate Nigerians said they were giving 80 million to one musician to be the ambassador. That 80 million, you only need to give 1% of that into what they call the National Endowment Fund. That's what is running in the US. I'm sure that's what is running in the UK, where Vincent is. And you take that money will then be used to finance. They will make sure that Jazzville, even if Muyiwa is not interested in Jazzville, the endowment fund for the art can say, okay, you created Jazzville. Jazzville is going to outlive you. You can step out. You continue to run Jazzville. So it doesn't have to be the one who will now be running around to raise, because he has created the institution. Is the endowment fund for the art that will now say we find value in this, because all the careers that you built, you want to bring them back. So they will take it up from it.
Okay.
They will not do that because they know that when they are dealing with individuals, it's easy to make money from an individual. If you say you pay an artist 50 million, the artist has to shout. I can mention his name. He screamed. He said no, because the tax people went after him when the company took. No. I didn't get 10 million out of the 80 million because they shared it.
Wow.
Share the money. But if you put that money in a collective pot, it's the collective pot that will now determine, okay, Jazzville deserves to be sponsored, a clown troupe deserves to be sponsored, a child prodigy deserves to be sponsored. You know, people are doing a lot of things. They don't have money to run it properly.
Even Freedom Park. Freedom Park
is under threat now because they can't generate money to run the place. They need them to run commercial, but it's the only place where artists can go to.
Yes.
Freedom Park is the Jazzville of those days.
Yeah.
Now, it's the only place you can go and have the almost free show. You don't have to pay any money, just bring your band members. That's what we're doing in Jazzville. But they don't have money to run it. But private individuals are getting so much money, and because it allows for corruption, because money is not accounted for. If the artist did not cry out, everybody believed that he got 80 million. The guy didn't even get 10 million. They took all the money and gave him paltry 10 million to go away. But in the company document, it is stated that they spent 80 million on that.
Wow. Jahman,
You can't run a system like this.
have
So
you
way forward, no government.
have you heard
Yeah.
of something that is being championed in government by an ex-military man? The
I
creative,
was at the meeting.
the Creative Industries Development Bill Framework. Have you
I was at that meeting, yeah, and I was one of the. I hope the guy doesn't hate me now because I was one of those who spoke up. I told him, I said, you can't just come from nowhere. The Buhari government that you want to sign the bill is leaving in May.
Yeah.
You are just waking up in March. They've done. This is a law. You have done 5 drafts.
Yes.
People were not involved.
Yeah.
So you mean that you were shaving their heads at their back? You now want to bring a document. You said they should just come and ratify. I told him, I said, we all support you because you look like us.
Yes.
You support you. I don't see it going forward.
Because
a country that refused to sign cultural policy, and our minister goes all over the world talking about Nigerian culture, Nigeria. On what basis? If you have a creative sector in a country of over 200 million people, with over about 400 ethnic tribes, the only constitution they have is the cultural policy.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that is final of all that. I say how Yoruba people relate to the Igbo can relate to the House.
Yeah.
You refuse to sign. It's a banana republic that we're running.
Because I attended a session with in London. In last month. Kyoto sent me an invite. I went along. We heard him speak and everything. Everybody spoke up and said their bits. The same skepticism one had about, listen, that it's great that it's a government-related thing. He's trying to put the point that all the people that are involved are not elected. And the bill, when passed, the people that are appointed to the bill will not be elected. It will have nothing to do with government. That is what he's saying. That's what he put to us that day. If that is true, and he's still saying, he was saying that, listen, May 29th is the last day that I have. And he says he will work till that day to try and get this bill passed.
But you see, the technical problem there is that Nigerian system does not run without the MDAs.
Okay.
The ministry must be involved. Because it is Nigeria that initiated the cultural policy. The cultural policy is actually a document that was created to ensure the smooth running or to ensure the organization. It's like what you call the NBC, Nigerian Broadcasting Code Corporation. You can't run a television station without referring to the Broadcasting Commission.
Yes.
Yeah. So what he's saying now is that we are going to go outside of the cultural policy that government has created, which is domiciled in the ministry, in the Department of Culture. They are not involved.
Yes.
It will run because the civil servant will still have to run and they will stop that bill. The bill can be passed or it won't operate.
Yeah. It won't operate. Yeah.
It's like you are saying you want to run a TV station without NBC, even though you can do it on YouTube, but you'll never be able to do a proper television, run a proper radio station without the NBC. You won't be here if the NBC did not say the station is live. That's the contradiction in what he's doing. The idea is good.
The idea is great.
NDTC commission.
Yeah, it's great because I mean what the way he was putting it, any artist, any creative that has a problem of either of procedure or process or whatever, that you just bring it to that body and say, listen, this is my problem, and the body goes ahead and solves it. That's the idea that he has.
But it's supposed to be a government body.
Sorry?
It's not a government body. It's going to be a government body.
Apparently not.
But so why would the president sign the bill and it's not a government body? That's a contradiction.
All right, gentlemen, listen, I have played something from Muyiwa, and then for your side, I'm going to play something now from Orlando Julius, Selma to Soweto. All right, okay. This is for you. We are back. Gentlemen, we can unmute yourselves and let's continue this conversation. So, gentlemen, and I'm referring to the two of you, let's talk about what this recognition by Lagos Jazz Society. What do you both have to say about that? Let me touch that first. What do you both have to say about that? Jahman, you can go first.
Well, I feel honored. I mean, there's nothing like being honored by your own have been celebrated by your own people.
Yeah.
No plan.
Legal Jazz Society is a home to many of us. I mean, we
Yeah.
learned quite, even though occasionally people stray off the main course of the objective.
Yeah, well, this is true.
Yeah, I think it's a family. I mean, we that's where we get to connect. And
Yeah.
So I feel really honored. I'm very grateful.
Yeah.
As I told Kenneth, I felt really elevated, and the fact that I'm being celebrated alongside my Egmont, somebody that I should be praising as my own model, someone I respect a lot. And I mean, they held us by the hand.
Yeah.
So we're young reporters then when we go there, and I'm not sure we even understood why we were going there. We just that is the place to go. The other place was where we got spoiled. You go to shrine and then you end up in Jazzville.
Yeah.
No, you go to
If I run the town,
No, you go to Jazzville and then end up in.
go to Jazzville, and then you go to shrine. You know, you just start going around. And they took us to those other clubs where we were getting drunk, and zone, all those clubs. What you went to do in those George get drunk. But this one, you were really going for something of quality.
Yeah.
And you met virtually everybody there. So
Yeah.
and now all of us are now meeting, and I'm being celebrated with him. So
Yeah.
grateful to Legal Jazz Society. I told you the same thing.
All right. Muyiwa, what does it mean to you?
It's like we've come full circle. And I've been out of the industry for about 20 years now. 20 years. I left. I shut down Jazzville 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And for me, it was a shock. You know, the initial shock was December 1st when the club
Immaculate Club.
Immaculate Club 17 decided to recognize my efforts. It came as a shock, and then this too came as a shock 20 years after. And it's like, hey, what's going on? Is there something I'm missing? Is there something that's going on that I'm not aware of? So tell me, I don't know.
No,
for me, it was a pleasant surprise. Like Jam, I feel honored. I want to tell you a lie. I guess 20 years ago when I shut down, I kind of felt what's the word? Unappreciated.
Really?
Yeah, 20 years.
When you shut it down.
When I shut it down.
Okay.
And then silence for 20 years, and then
all of a sudden.
Then all of a sudden, it's as if
somebody struck a match.
Somebody struck a match, and
no, but
I feel honored. I feel
you know in the midst of things that are happening, you know, if you are too close to something,
yeah,
you couldn't see that everybody who came every Friday was so grateful that Jazzville was there. Jahman,
yeah,
we were grateful that it was every
yes.
Friday. Now you may not have seen that. You know,
I guess I was on a natural.
Well, I know that running a Jazzville night was very stressful.
It was stressful.
I mean, I know when he stopped Jazzville, Toyin was happy. I know that Toyin, his wife, I'm sure she was happy when he stopped Jazzville. But all of us who were there will never forget her chicken and chips that came out of that kitchen. Nobody will forget that. And you know, those things were going out of the in and out. They were coming out of the kitchen like hotcakes. You know, we didn't forget. So listen, I think maybe it's, you know, it's never too late to recognize when people have done things that of great quality and deserve the recognition. And I think both of you, without doubt, fall into that category. You know?
I one wasn't looking for recognition, you know.
We didn't say you were.
Yeah.
We didn't say that you were.
We did it. We did it that time. Or it was like breathing.
Yes.
It was like just breathe.
Yeah.
And let live and let people succeed at what they're good at.
Yeah.
You know, harness their talents and then showcase them and then move on.
Yeah.
But it was fun while it lasted. Let me tell you a story. You know, for about 2.5 years after I shut down Jazzville, I couldn't sleep on Friday nights.
Oh wow!
No, I couldn't.
Oh wow!
I was on a natural. adrenaline was pumping every Friday.
Yeah.
From 7 o'clock, I'm pacing up and down my house. Friday nights. I'm not going up, but I'm pacing up, down, up, down, up, down. I didn't know what to do. It wasn't funny.
Oh
And
God.
then 5 o'clock, then I could go to bed.
Yeah.
And then wake up at 7 o'clock. But that was the
That was the window.
7
to about 5. Yeah.
That was it.
No, gentlemen, it's been tonight has been a lot different than usual. That the conversation has really taken the show, but that was the purpose today, so that we could give air, because I think one of the things that needs to happen for both of you, all that are anyone that's listening to this show, these two gentlemen deserve the recognition they're getting, and they deserve more. They deserve more. So please, if you're listening to this show and you know how to get in touch with them, I'm not giving anybody phone number because they will just you guys will get rest. You know, find a way to reach out to them. All the comedians who started off in Jazzville, all the musicians who started off in Jazzville, anybody who for whom that was became their home and the place for them to start doing, reach out. Anybody that has been touched by the work of Mr. Anikulapo, you know, I think in your case, there's can't even begin to start where you're.
There's something I didn't mention.
What?
Jahman used to anchor the Jazz Africa Network Foundation Jazz Sundays we used to have.
Sunday Jazz.
We had an organization called the Jazz Africa Network.
Okay.
And he used to anchor it.
Anchor it.
It was
Okay.
last
All right.
Sundays every month, or last Sunday.
Last Sunday every month.
Every month.
Okay.
He anchored it. And that's how we got closer.
Okay. Well, meanwhile, I'll tell you what. In a way, I think I'm going to take a leaf out of the two of you with something that I'm doing. I've been working on a platform for this radio show, Jazz and Conversations, which primarily is to feature jazz by African musicians based on the continent and abroad. It is almost ready to go live. We just have to shift the plan. There are a few things that we still have to do, but the core of this thing is going to be a hub. It's sort of like a Facebook hub, but it is for artists, African jazz musicians, African jazz lovers, and their fan base to connect. And part of the message of it is going to be to build bridges across the continent, so that artists across the continent can start to connect and collaborate. Because one of the things I realized, and I'm sure Jahman, in your searches, you have realized this too. Artisans or creatives in South Africa don't know who anybody that's in North Africa. They don't know what's going on in East Africa. They don't know what's going on in West Africa.
Total disconnect.
It's complete disconnect. And I know that has come from, it is one of the ravages of the colonial era that has just destroyed the bridges between the regions of the continent. So this platform, by the end of this month, it should go live. I'm not going to give the URL now, because it's not ready for anybody to go there. But there's some people, Jahman, I will send you a link, an invite, so you can have a look. Vincent has a look at it.
I'd like to be part of it.
Muyiwa has seen it, you know, but I'll send you a link to the hub. It's almost ready, and you'll be there. You can all basically, we'll just connect this family. And whether it's culture, whether it can be culture, it can be, but you have to be either an artist or a fan. It's not to be like a Facebook just for community. It's basically to connect between. I mean, I got a call yesterday, a few days ago, from a Ghanaian trumpeter. His name is Berima Amo. He's Ghanaian, but he's based in Amsterdam. He called me, he said, listen, I want to get a hold of Jimmy Ludlu. You know, that Zimbabwean guy in South Africa. I want to collaborate with him. He contacted me. I sent a message to Jimmy, and now Jimmy and him are doing some collab for his birthday. He said, so, and that's the purpose. That will be the purpose of this thing, to just connect.
Connecting the dots.
Connect the dots. Because one of the things, Jahman, I am tired of African jazz being called world music.
Yes.
As far as I'm concerned, it's an insult.
Mm.
It is
They now
it's
don't
an
confine us to
insult.
one room.
You know, just piled everybody into one room. So one of the missions is that African jazz must become recognized as a legitimate genre of jazz, because it is the only one, almost the only one, where new sound is coming from. Because what I've realized in each African country, because of the diversity of culture and instruments and scales, jazz is in every country, but it sounds different.
Yes.
Because they when they integrate with the culture of the country and the idioms and whatever, it just becomes it. But if you listen to it, you hear the jazz. I mean, look at Fela, Manu Dibango, Huma Sekela. Three of them all learned jazz in Europe, came back and created three different brands of music. You know, so
everybody relying on that. Yes.
you know, so that's coming soon. So I will send me. I don't know. Send me your email address on WhatsApp. I'll send you.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Vince,
I'll do that.
how have you enjoyed today? I know it's very different.
It's very different, but I brought out my notebook, as I said before. It's nice to be in front of cultural and music royalty. You understand, and I must commend you.
And these two they are definitely
and give you great kudos for your recognition, because this is what we don't do. We don't recognize those that have done things. And Muyiwa, I fully understand this thing about how bereft you felt once you had closed down Jazzville, because you had a great thing going there. But this thing about the watering holes we've had around Lagos, believe me, on a Friday night, I've been to several of those watering holes, and I can understand how important what you did was, and you put in a lot of effort, and you're being recognized now for it. Sometimes it takes longer than you expect to reap those fruits, but hey, we've done it. Well done.
Thank you so much.
And Jahman, you're a great man. Well done. It's good stuff. Okay. Keep it up, and please help the government sort this thing out, because our next gold, our next oil is our culture. They don't seem to realize it just yet, but that is our next. I mean, look at what the individual artists are doing across the globe.
Yes.
You know, that's our next oil.
Yes.
Right there. You know,
Yeah.
and I'm actually not too sure that I want government involved at this point in time, because the point Jahman was making, that it turns to dust once they get involved. I think, yes, we should, individuals, the industry itself should form itself into some group or whatever it's going to be. And at some point, government will sort of be involved, but they shouldn't be involved from the beginning, because they don't really understand it right now. Yeah. Okay?
Not this government.
Thank you.
Well done, guys.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
All right, listen, gentlemen. I have to say thank you for Jahman. Where are you, by the way?
I'm in Lagos.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're back. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I came for election and we couldn't vote. So
you said what?
No election. We're here.
listen, you know what is, let me tell you something, Jahman. Last week, Wednesday or so, I was in a Burger King, and they were doing the what do you call it? This certificate of returns. Handing over to Bola Tinubu. And what I noticed was the staff in the restaurant, who I consider as the rank and file, your everyday Nigerians, they were standing and looking at the screen in shock. Back. And they were looking at the screen in shock. You know? And it was as if they couldn't believe what they were seeing on the screen in front of them. They didn't make a sound. No sound. Nobody said. They didn't even complain or shout or yell or not a sound. Nothing. You know, they were in shock. And I said, if this is, and this seems to be the feeling everywhere. Everybody is in shock. They don't understand, you know. And I'll give. let me not say. You know, there's some things you can't say. You know, they were in shock.
You got me.
I haven't mentioned any names or who they were handing to. They were just in shock. You understand? They were in shock. They said, what is this we're watching? It's as if it wasn't real. You know, it was so funny. You know, but it is anyway. God day.
Have you? We leave it at that.
Oh God! Oh, wonderful. Listen, gentlemen, thank you so much for a great time tonight. I am going to close with
Thank
a
you very
track
much.
from a gentleman called Femi Temowo. He's based in the UK, and he has this track of his called Ore, and that is what we're going to close with tonight. Jahman, thank you so much. God
Thank
bless you, and I will see you 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
And Ken has said that will I be the? I asked him, is anybody else MC? He said no one in particular. Will I do it? So I haven't answered him yet, but let's see.
Okay.
2 weeks, whatever happens, we will see on that Friday.
Oh, okay.
All right. Thank you so much,
I'll
Vince.
see you then 2 weeks from now.
Vince, thanks so much for tuning in.
Bye bye.
Charlene,
Fantastic.
thank you, dear.
Well done. Nice
Thanks
one.
for being on.
Bye bye.
Muyiwa,
Thank you so much.
good to be back. He hasn't been on with me for about 5 years.
Yes.
You know, it's good
Please
always to have my
Please give
brother. with-
Muyiwa a handshake from me.
I have
please.
done.
Well received.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Cheers, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Take care. Bye. Jahman, take care. Good night. Charlene, good night. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Good night, everyone.